Good morning, students. This video is for the students of class 9, subject science, chapter number 14, that is natural resources. It's your lecture number 7. In this lecture, I would be taking the summary of the whole chapter, covering all the topics in a nutshell. So let's start. What are the various resources present on the earth? There are various resources present on the earth like air, water, soil. So, what is lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere? The outer crust of the earth, it is called as lithosphere. And what is hydrosphere? The water on the earth, it is hydrosphere. Hydro means water. And what is atmosphere? The layer of the air around the earth, that is called as atmosphere. Now, what is biosphere? It is the life supporting zone of the earth where atmosphere, hydrosphere and lithosphere interact and makes life possible. Okay, the interaction of these three spheres, it is called as biosphere. Now this biosphere, it has two components. What are those two components? Biotic components and abiotic components. Biotic components constitutes living forms, whereas abiotic components constitute non-living things. So this was about biosphere. Next is air, that is the breath of life. You know that air is a mixture of gases like nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, water vapor and other gases. Right? So, now the question arises, where oxygen is being used? Plants and animals use oxygen for respiration. This is the first point. Second point is the combustion of fossil fuels. They also require oxygen. So in these two processes, oxygen is being used. That is combustion and respiration. Now, what are the two ways by which carbon dioxide is fixed by the living organisms? You know that oxygen is inhaled and carbon dioxide is exhaled out during respiration, right? So, how this carbon dioxide is being fixed by the living organisms? First is photosynthesis. The plants, they use carbon dioxide in the process of photosynthesis. So, this is the first way in which the carbon dioxide is being fixed. Second is the marine animals. The marine animals, they absorb atmospheric carbon dioxide and they form carbonic acid. That is used by them to make their shells. This is the second way by which carbon dioxide is being fixed. So are you clear about this? Okay. Now the next question arises, how is our atmosphere different from the atmosphere on Venus and Mars? The answer lies here. On the planets Venus and Mars, carbon dioxide forms the major component and it constitutes about 95 to 97% of the atmosphere. This was about Venus and Mars. What about Earth? On the contrary, the major component of the Earth's atmosphere is air, which consists of nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, water vapor and other gases. Your next question is, how does the atmosphere act as a blanket? So first of all, what is atmosphere? Atmosphere is the layer of air around the earth. Okay, this is atmosphere. Now how is it acting as a blanket? It keeps the average temperature of the earth fairly steady during the day and the whole year. And how? This atmosphere prevents the sudden increase in temperature during the daytime, and it slows down the escape of heat into the outer space during nighttime. In this way, the atmosphere acts as a blanket. Your next topic is wind. What is wind? The movement of air is called wind. Okay? What causes wind? When air gets heated, it rises up and produces low pressure, and cool air moves in to take its place. This movement of air causes wind. I repeat again what happens. Where air gets heated, it rises up, and at that place, at that region, the low pressure is created. So the cool air, it occupies that low pressure region. So the movement of air from the region of high pressure to the region of low air pressure, it causes wind. So are you clear about the answer of the question? Now, what is sea breeze and land breeze? What happens during the day, the land gets heated faster than the sea. Okay, so the hot air which is present above the land will rise up, and cool air from the sea, it will move towards the land. So this is called as sea breeze. And what is land breeze? During the night, the sea gets cooled down slowly than the land, right? So the hot air which is present above the sea, it will rise up, and the cool air from the land, it will move towards sea. So this is called as land breeze. It is just the opposite of sea breeze. Now, what is rain? When the water bodies such as lakes, ponds, rivers, they get heated during the day, evaporation takes place. Okay, the water evaporates and they form water vapors. Now these vapors rises up and cools. Okay, they cool down, and this causes the vapor to condense into tiny droplets of water which appear as clouds. Okay, the water vapor has been formed, so it will rise up, then cool, then condense, and then they will form clouds. Okay, then the tiny droplets of water, they will join together to form bigger drops of water, and ultimately they fall down as a rain. You can see from the diagram also, surface water rises up, evaporation takes place, then condensation takes place, then precipitation occurs, then the percolation of the water takes place deep into the rocks. So this is rain. Your next topic is what is air pollution. The increase in content of the harmful substances in the air is called as air pollution. In other words, what you can say, air pollution may be defined as the addition of foreign particles, gases and other materials into the air which adversely affect the health, vegetation and property. Okay, so you can define in your own words what is air pollution. I have given some idea. What are the causes of air pollution? Fossil fuels like coal and petroleum contain small amounts of nitrogen and sulfur. When these fuels are burnt, it releases oxides of nitrogen and sulfur, and these oxides dissolve in rain and cause acid rain. Okay, whenever the fossil fuels they are burnt, then oxides will be released and these oxides they dissolve in rain, which cause acid rain. This is an important point to note. Second is the burning of fossil fuels, they also release unburnt carbon particles. Okay, these particles they are basically called as hydrocarbons, which reduce visibility. During cold weather, along with the condensed water, it forms smoke. Smoke, it is actually the combination of smoke plus fog. Okay, so these are the causes of air pollution. Next is effects of air pollution. There are adverse effects of air pollution. First is the gases like oxides of nitrogen and sulfur, they cause irritation in eyes and throat. These gases they also harm lungs, liver, kidneys and also have bad effect on the nervous system. Okay, whenever the fossil fuels are burnt, the oxides are being released and they cause irritation in the eyes, throat and it also damages the nervous system as well. Second is smoke in air. It is highly suffocating and reduces visibility. Okay, the smoke, it will reduce the visibility. Third is increasing amount of carbon dioxide in air. It is also causing global warming. Okay, the carbon dioxide content is increasing in the air and that will lead to global warming. So there are various effects of air pollution. Next topic is water. Water is one of the basic necessities of life. Why? Because all the cellular processes take place in water medium. Okay. Whatever the processes takes place inside the cell, they all take place in water medium. Second is substances are transported from one part of the body to the other in dissolved form. Okay, whatever the substances are being transported, they are being transported in dissolved form, that is in water form. Hence, organisms need to maintain the level of water in their bodies in order to stay alive. Okay. Now, why the terrestrial life forms require fresh water? This is a very interesting question. Why? Because their bodies they cannot tolerate or get rid of high amounts of dissolved salt in saline water. Okay, their bodies they do not have the capability to tolerate such high amounts of the dissolved salt which is present in saline water. That is why they require fresh water. So water is one of the basic necessities of life. It is required for every living organism existing on this planet Earth. Now, what is water pollution? Basically, it is the addition of undesirable and harmful substances that degrade water quality and making it toxic to humans or the environment. Okay, this is water pollution. So what are the sources of water pollution? First is fertilizers and pesticides sprayed over the crops. They are washed into nearby water bodies by rainwater. Okay, that is one of the source of water pollution. Second is dumping of untreated sewage into rivers and lakes. Third is discharge of industrial influence by industries such as paper, sugar mills, petroleum refineries, etc. Okay, so these are the sources of water pollution. Next is what are the effects of water pollution? The dumping of untreated sewage in the water bodies, it causes several waterborne diseases such as cholera, diarrhea, typhoid, jaundice, etc. So it causes disease. That is the first effect. Second is chemicals and industrial influence in higher concentration. Then the recommendation limit, it can cause many disease. Okay, for example, mercury, it causes menometer disease. That is, a mercury is a chemical which is being released from industries. Third is eutrophication. Eutrophication is the excessive growth of algae on the water bodies. Okay, so that is also an effect of water pollution. Now the question arises, what would happen if there is change in temperature of the water bodies? So, if there is change in temperature of the water, it will adversely affect the aquatic organisms. The aquatic organisms are used to a certain range of temperature in the water body where they live, and a sudden marked change in this temperature would be dangerous for them or affect their breeding. Okay, the eggs and the larvae, they are mostly affected when there is change in temperature of the water bodies. Next topic is soil. What is soil? Soil is a mixture of small particles of different sizes, decayed living organisms, and various types of microscopic plants and animals. Now, how is it formed? It is formed by a very slow process, that is withering of rocks. Means breakdown of rocks into smaller and smaller particles. It results in the formation of soil. That process is withering. What are the factors that affect soil? There are three factors that affect the formation of soil: sun, water, and wind. Sun. Cracks that are formed due to expansion and contraction of the rocks during day and night respectively ultimately breaks up the rocks into smaller pieces. So this is how the soil formation takes place due to the action of sun. Second is water. The rainwater enters in the cracks and gets solidified into ice during winter, which generates pressure inside the rocks, ultimately breaking them apart. So this is how the soil is formed by the action of water. Third is wind. The strong winds, they also erode rocks down and the soil is formed. So this is how the soil is formed by the action of sun, water and wind. Next is soil erosion. What is soil erosion? The removal of topsoil by air, water and wind is called as soil erosion. It normally occurs in bare areas. Why? Because in bare areas the topsoil is very loose and it is carried by strong winds or fast moving water. Okay. So that's why soil erosion normally occurs in bare areas. So what are the methods to prevent soil erosion? Different methods are available in order to prevent soil erosion. These are terrace farming, counter farming, intensive cropping, crop rotation, checking overgrazing by the cattle, avoiding deforestation, proper drainage canals around the fields. So implementing these methods will help in preventing soil erosion. So what is soil pollution? Removal of useful components from soil and addition of other substances which adversely affect the fertility of the soil and kill the diversity of the organisms that live in it. It is called as soil pollution. What are the sources of soil pollution? First is modern farming practices that involve the use of large amounts of fertilizers and pesticides. Okay, the fertilizers and the pesticides which are being used by the farmers for spraying over the crops, that is one of the source of soil pollution. Second is chemicals released from the industries which are dumped in the vacant sites along the roads. Third is solid waste generated from the residences and public places make the surroundings dirty and pollute the soil. So these are the sources of soil pollution. Now moving ahead to our next topic, that is biogeochemical cycle. What is this? A constant interaction between the biotic and abiotic components of the biosphere makes it a dynamic but stable system. And these interactions, they consist of transfer of matter and energy between the different components of biosphere. So this is called as biogeochemical cycle. The four important biogeochemical cycles in nature are water cycle, nitrogen cycle, carbon cycle, and oxygen cycle. So let us start with the first cycle, that is water cycle. It is also called as hydrological cycle. Water cycle is the circulation of water between atmosphere, land, and water bodies present on the earth. So the steps involved in water cycle are evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and infiltration. Okay? In evaporation, the water evaporates and they turn into water vapors. In condensation, the water vapors, they form tiny water droplets which join together to form bigger drops and form clouds. In precipitation, the water droplets which are present in the clouds, they form and produce rains. And in infiltration, the rainwater, it seep into the soil and replenish both the groundwater and the soil water. So this is about the water cycle. Next is nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen is the important essential element for all living organisms for the synthesis of amino acids, proteins, enzymes, etc. Okay, this is an important essential element. And what is the concentration of nitrogen in the atmosphere? It is 78%. So what is nitrogen cycle? It is the circulation of the nitrogen from atmosphere to the soil and back into the atmosphere. Okay, this cyclic movement of nitrogen, it is called as nitrogen cycle. So what are the steps involved in nitrogen cycle? Basically there are 5 steps. First is nitrogen fixation, second is nitrogen assimilation, third is ammonification, fourth is nitrification, and fifth is denitrification. So first is nitrogen fixation. What happens in this? The conversion of free atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia, it takes place. Okay, the atmospheric nitrogen which is freely in nature, it is converted into ammonia. So this process is nitrogen fixation. This nitrogen fixation, it takes place by either of 3 ways. Atmospheric nitrogen fixation, biological nitrogen fixation, and industrial nitrogen fixation. The details of these 3 I have given in lecture number 5. You can go there. So after nitrogen fixation, second step is nitrogen assimilation. In this process, the absorption of nitrates and ammonia takes place into organic nitrogen. Okay, and this organic nitrogen is transferred into the animal's body when the plants, they are eaten by animals. So this second step is nitrogen assimilation, that is involved in nitrogen cycle. Third step is ammonification. In ammonification, the ammonia is formed from organic nitrogen. Okay, so the process of conversion of complex organic nitrogen into ammonia, it is called as ammonification, and it takes place by putrefying bacteria and some fungi. Fourth is nitrification. It is the process of conversion of ammonia into nitrites and then nitrates. Okay, first ammonia is converted into nitrites by Nitrococcus bacteria, and then nitrites is converted to nitrates by Nitrobacter, and these are nitrifying bacteria. So this is nitrification process. The last step is denitrification. It is the process of conversion of nitrates into molecular nitrogen in order to maintain the equilibrium of nitrogen in the atmosphere. Okay, the nitrates which were formed earlier, it is converted back into molecular nitrogen and it is returned back to the atmosphere. And this process is carried out by denitrifying bacteria. So this was about nitrogen cycle. You can see from the diagram also, nitrogen in atmosphere, then nitrogen fixation takes place, then ammonification, then nitrification, and then denitrification. So moving ahead to our next cycle, that is carbon cycle. Carbon occurs in elemental form as diamond and graphite. And it also occurs in the combined state such as carbon dioxide in the atmosphere or carbonate and hydrogen carbonate salts in various minerals. It is also found in organic molecules such as carbohydrates, proteins, fats, etc. in the living beings. Also, an interesting point about carbon is that the endoskeleton and the exoskeleton of the various animals, they are also formed from carbonate salt. This carbonate, it is a combined form of carbon. So what is carbon cycle? It is a circulation of carbon through the different forms between biotic and abiotic components of the biosphere. Okay, the carbon is being circulated through the different components of the biosphere. So this is carbon cycle. There are three steps which are involved in carbon cycle. They are photosynthesis, respiration and combustion. So you can see from the diagram also, carbon dioxide is present in the atmosphere. It is taken by the plants for photosynthesis process. Then plants are eaten up by animals, and these animals then they later form inorganic carbonate shells. Second point, you can write that plants and animals, when they die, they form fossil fuels like coal and petroleum. Third point, you can write down that carbon dioxide present in atmosphere, it is used by the marine organisms or the aquatic animals in the water to form carbonate shells, which is made up of limestone. So these are the steps which are involved in carbon cycle. Your next topic is oxygen cycle. Oxygen is found in the elemental form and the atmosphere to the extent of 21%. Okay, and it also occurs in combined form in the air as well in Earth's crust. In air it is found in the form of carbon dioxide, and in the Earth's crust it is found in the form of oxides or carbonates, sulfates, nitrates. So oxygen, it occurs in both the form, that is elemental form and combined form. This oxygen cycle, it maintains the level of oxygen in the atmosphere. How? Oxygen from the atmosphere, it is used up in three processes. What are those? Combustion, respiration and the formation of oxides of nitrogen. In these three processes, oxygen is being used from the atmosphere. And only there is one major process by which oxygen is returned back to the atmosphere, and that process is photosynthesis. Though oxygen is necessary to all the life forms, but in some forms of life, especially bacteria, they are poisoned by elemental oxygen. Okay, oxygen is necessary for all living organisms, but for bacteria it is a poison. In fact, the process of nitrogen fixing that takes place by bacteria, it does not take place in the presence of oxygen, because oxygen is poison for bacteria. So you can see this is the oxygen cycle. Atmospheric oxygen, it is existing in O2 form. It is used in respiration process. Then by photosynthesis process, it is released back into the atmosphere. So this is oxygen cycle. Your next topic is greenhouse effect. What is greenhouse effect? It is an atmospheric phenomenon in which some gases in the atmosphere prevent the escape of heat from the earth into the space, and they trap it in the earth's atmosphere. Okay, there are some gases which are present in the atmosphere, and these gases, they prevent the escape of the heat which are falling from the earth's surface into the outer space, and they trap it in the earth's atmosphere. So this effect is greenhouse effect. So the gases which trap the earth's heat in the atmosphere, they are called as greenhouse gases. Okay, and what are those greenhouse gases? Carbon dioxide, methane, chlorofluorocarbons, nitrous oxide, and water vapor. These are major greenhouse gases. What is global warming? Global warming is rise in temperature of the earth's surface due to greenhouse effect. Okay, when the average temperature of the earth's surface rise due to increase in concentration of the greenhouse gases, it leads to global warming. So this is global warming. So what are the consequences or what are the effects of global warming? Melting of glaciers, rise in sea level, climatic changes such as drought, disruption of the habitats, and obviously increasing temperature of the earth's atmosphere. So these are the effects of global warming. Next topic is ozone layer. What is ozone? Ozone is a molecule containing 3 atoms of oxygen, that is O3. This ozone is a poisonous gas which is found in the stratosphere layer of the atmosphere. In which layer it is found? Stratosphere layer. And what is the function of this ozone layer? It is a protective layer that forms a shield around the earth that absorbs harmful radiations coming from the sun and prevents them from reaching the surface of the earth. I repeat again what happens. This ozone layer is actually acting as a protective layer around the earth's surface. Okay, so whenever the harmful radiations reach from the sun to the surface, this layer, it absorbs those radiations and prevents them from reaching the earth's surface. So this is ozone layer. So what is ozone depletion? The decrease in the concentration of this ozone layer, it is called as ozone depletion. So what is the cause of this depletion of ozone layer? The main cause is release of CFCs, that is chlorofluorocarbons. And these chemicals, that is CFC, it is extensively used in aerosols, propellants, refrigerants, shaving foams, etc. Okay, and some of the CFCs, they are also released into the atmosphere by the jet aeroplanes when they are flying at some height. Okay, so this release of CFCs is actually responsible for the depletion of ozone layer. And what are the effects of this depletion of ozone layer? Increase in chances of skin cancer, cataract, sunburns, and various other diseases. Second is damage to immune system. Third is decrease in crop production. Fourth is adverse effects on the aquatic food chain. And fifth is disruption in global warming. So these are the effects of ozone depletion. So this ends for the whole chapter. I hope all have you understood this chapter completely. So students, you can note down the important dates. On 27 May, that is today, an assignment 1 has been uploaded on EdQuark site. You will have to solve that assignment. Tomorrow, that is 28th May, assignment 2 will be uploaded. You will have to solve that too. And on 30th May, a test paper will be given on EdQuark site. So thank you class.